What's up guys, CatNintendo64 here, and welcome to the final part of ranking the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate stages. Today, we actually have the Ultimate stages left to do, base game and DLC.
Woohoo, we are almost there, folks.
Let's jump right into it. We have a very quick one to take care of right now. This is a stage that was added in between the release of Min Min and Steve for Smash Ultimate. This is Small Battlefield. It's literally just Battlefield without the top platform, and that's it. And I think the main platform is actually smaller too. Not entirely sure on that, but it feels like it to me. At the very least, this is still a good place for fighting, but that mainly is for 2 players and not 4 players. Like I just said, it was added in the update between Min Min and Steve, and I still just kind of funny that they just shadow dropped it. Yeah, nothing much else to say, just C tier. I think personally though, I like it less than the original Battlefield, but more than Big Battlefield, so that's where I would personally rank it, but we'll see how that fares for it.
First of all, I didn't know that that was actually true for this stage. I actually didn't know that until you just said it now, but yeah, not much opinion. Literally exact same rank I put the other 2 Battlefields on.
Yeah, this one is just going to C tier, that's all I'm going to say. I mean, it is, if it's for like 2 players, it's actually an okay, like, to begin, like, if you're a beginner of Smash, but if you're, like, more competitive or, like, more, like, want to play Smash more often, then this is definitely not the stage that you want to, like, play on and stuff, so I think this is the worst Battlefield stage out of the 3, but that's just my opinion, so I'm just going to throw it C tier and move on.
Where did we rank normal Battlefield, by the way?
Just, we had this conversation last time for Big Battlefield. It's here in C tier.
I don't know. Bottom of C. This stage just kind of sucks.
Alright, I'll just leave it at the bottom of the 3 Battlefields then.
Literally the quickest review we ever did.
Yeah, no, we it's part of the freaking stage list, but we kind of had to put it, so we just had to kind of knock that out real fast, so. Anyway, our first true stage to actually start this tier list is New Donk City Hall. And, well, if there's one place they had to pull from Mario Odyssey, New Donk City was definitely the right choice. I think that's the most iconic location from Odyssey, even if it's a little bit on the overrated side. I think a traveling stage set just around the City Hall building works pretty well. And thankfully we're given plenty of warning time for when it does start to travel for this stage. I do think that the third area where the City Hall is on the left or right side of the screen, and there's a lot more open space amongst the floating platforms, could have just been left in the center, because aside from the walk-off and possible blast zone abuse for the 100th time, I just kind of don't like it when a stage has more emphasis on one side with more dead space on the other side. And while we're on the subject of nitpicks, I wish they were able to get all the details in New Donk City to be fully accurate, because the surrounding model of location is very much lacking in detail, and it's most obvious when you're flying back down to the bottom of City Hall from the top. I understand that they probably couldn't do it because of the overlap between Smash Ultimate and Odyssey's development, but it still bugs me to this day regardless. Anyway, nitpicks aside, I think it's really cool how if the music for the stage is set to either Odyssey's remix of Mario 1's overall theme or Jump Up Superstar, then the stage will basically follow the same rule as that one objective in Odyssey, where you have to interact with the band members, minus the drummer for this stage, who is active from the get-go, to add the layers of the music. And for Jump Up Superstar, interacting with Pauline adds her vocals. Aside from that, the only other things I can bring up is, 1, the Odyssey naturally showing up, but more specifically with the incorrect amount of moons, and thereby the wrong size of sails, I guess, which has pretty much been joked about forever at this point. And I personally don't care about it much nowadays, but it's still something to point out. The other thing, and this is something I didn't know about until I was writing my notes down before we did this, but apparently Captain Toad makes a cameo in this stage at the top of the building, but only on the 3rd loop on the stage, or if the music is set to something from Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So, overall, I think the stage is pretty solid. I'm gonna give it an A tier.
Yeah, I'd say this one's kind of similar to Prism Tower, but I'd say definitely done differently. Yeah, honestly, I will say this was probably definitely the best choice they could have picked from Odyssey. I mean, it was either going to be either New Donk City or Fossil Falls, but I'm fine with New Donk City, although Fossil Falls would be cool to have too. But anyways, yeah, I do really like how they did incorporate the whole gimmick from Odyssey of like gathering all the band members, since I feel like that definitely makes for a unique kind of stage. Like, I do like the stages that effect with like music, like first being Electroplankton, then this one. But I would say the platforms aren't as practical like on this one compared to Prism Tower, but I feel like they're not too terrible either. So overall, I'll still give this one an A tier, since I do still think it is a pretty decent stage with pretty decent references, but just, in my opinion, just not as good as Prism Tower, but I do still like this one quite a bit.
I like this stage. I think it's a great reference to Mario Odyssey because it was like newest Mario game at the time. Obviously, I just always like it of New Donk City because based off New York City, obviously. Well, I'm normally not a fan of like stages that you had to go on platforms like to go around every time, but this is one of those ones I actually don't mind doing. And I also think it's fun to fight on the tall skyscraper, and then at the bottom where you meet Paulina and Mario Odyssey. There's others, but I can't think of the others right now at the top of my brain. Overall, I'd say this is a pretty solid stage. I wouldn't say it's an S tier, but I will give it a top of A tier. I really like the stage a lot.
I feel like the theming is just what saves the stage. Because if it wasn't for the cool Mario Odyssey theming or like the thing with the performers, this would be a boring stage. I feel like the platforms themselves are actually pretty bad. Like the layout, I don't think is very good. But the Mario Odyssey theming and how cool it is does save it. So I'm putting it in middle of C.
Oh boy, okay. I think in that aspect, bottom of A is going to be the average here. All right. Next up, we have Great Plateau Tower. So, much like New Donk City Hall, it was pretty much a given that Breath of the Wild would get a stage in this game. Though I was kind of expecting them to go with a named location, like just Hyrule Fields or Death Mountain or something. I don't know much about Zelda. I'm not complaining though, because I think going with the Plateau Tower makes it stand out from some of the other Zelda game locales. And adding to that, I'm glad they still kept the majority of Hyrule visible in the background with all those details, including when you pause and turn the camera. Because I still don't know if all of that is a full-on model of Hyrule or a texture for the skybox, but it's still quite impressive regardless. As for the stage itself though, despite being a nice length for fighting, it isn't exactly the best place to fight because of that big structure in the middle that gets in the way most of the time. Granted, it can be destroyed and thereby replaced with a semi-solid platform, but that only lasts for about 30 seconds before the big structure reforms itself. I think that's really the only thing that's holding this stage back for me, so I'm going to give it B tier.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not really a fan of the layout. Okay, I do think the stage does look interesting, but just the one thing that kind of ruins it is the giant pillar thing on top that you could just keep crashing into. Yeah, I guess it's a bit better once it breaks, but it does rebuild itself pretty decently quick, so I wouldn't say that's really a saving factor for this. Yeah, kind of the same problem as one of the Peach's casual stages had, where it just has the thing in the middle, but I wouldn't say it's as atrocious, since again it can be destroyed and such, but definitely does not help the stage much. So I'm gonna say C tier, honestly.
This stage kind of sucks. First of all, the thing in the middle is just so damn annoying. I understand why it's there and you can easily destroy it, but I don't know. Every time I play this stage, I just get so annoyed with the middle stage that it's just really not that fun to fight on. Especially you can just bounce around with the characters over and over again with the middle stage. Now, if the stage is destroyed itself, I actually think the stage is actually not that bad. Yeah, it's kind of small for my liking, admittedly, but I don't know. I just feel like when the thing in the middle is gone, it's actually a lot more fun to fight on. But when that thing in the middle is in the way, it's just one of the most annoying things I ever deal with. So yeah, C tier. That's where I'm gonna put it. But if it wasn't for the thing in the middle, I would have put it maybe higher C tier.
Yeah, I'm with Michael on this. The small stage, which, unlike the other small stages, I think it works well, but that's only when the top part of it's destroyed. When the actual top part of the tower is there, this stage is unplayable. You can destroy it, and then it actually becomes good for 20 seconds. With the semi-solid there, it's actually fun to fight on. But then 2 seconds later, the top comes back, and then you can't play on it anymore. Yeah, no, I feel like this could have been a good stage, but they kind of ruined it. So I'm going to put it in B.
I'll average it at the top of C. Alright, next up we have Moray Towers. Yes, we did all go Inklings for the stage just for the memes. This stage, to me, can basically be summed up as, I can't believe it's not 25M. Because we were talking about that when we were trashing on 75M back in Brawl. Like, we were talking about how 25M would be a good stage, and this is the closest thing that we have to 25M. And this sort of vertical stage works pretty well, like we kind of talked about for that. Though the layout for Moray Towers can be a bit iffy at times, especially when you're trying to chase your opponents down. I think going with Moray Towers as the representative Splatoon stage for Smash was a good choice, though I think something like Urchin Underpass is more popular, I think. I don't really know what the popularity is for Splatoon stages to begin with, so it's just my educated guess, or uneducated guess. I think the way they condensed Moray Towers down to a 2D plane makes it look quite different from the original game, especially since the other side of the Moray Towers was completely omitted in the Jump to Smash. Because there are, in fact, 2 towers in the actual location, but they just kind of left it at the one. Like, they could have made the second tower work if they just, like, had, like, a small path at the bottom that reaches to the other tower. They could have made that work. Don't really have much else to say, so I'm gonna give it a slightly high B.
Don't really know much to say about this one, honestly. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I could definitely say this is definitely the closest we did get to the original Donkey Kong stage that should have been in the game, which I would say this one would work well. I feel like the main problem with this stage is that it's just kind of too slim. Like, if it was a bit more stretched out, I feel like it would be a bit better, but the way it is, it kind of has the same problem as, like, was it Tomogashi Life, the one that had, like, the different, like, floors, I think?
Yes.
I know some of these stages have problems with, like, multiple different, like, layers that kind of get in the way when you're trying to get somewhere. Like, I think, what was the building stage called again? It was, like the one with, like, the bombs and the barrels and such.
Oh, that's Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of, like, the same problem with that one. The layers keep getting in the way, which, okay, getting off topic, but, yeah, I feel like if it was a bit more stretched out to the sides, instead of being, like, super narrow, I feel like it would work a bit better. So, as it is, I'll just give it another C tier. I feel like this one could be a bit better if they did stretch it out a bit, but since it's a bit more cramped, I feel like it's just fine.
I always had fun with the stage. Like, it's not great, but I don't know. I just always had fun with the stage. I think it's a pretty cool stage, especially from Splatoon and stuff. Like, you can, like, if you're Inklings, you can, like, shoot, like, the colors everywhere and stuff. And I don't know, maybe because I just like the Splatoon music, or, like, one of them or something. I just always liked the stage a lot. Well, actually, it's not my favorite stage, obviously, but I don't know. I always had fun with the stage, but if you saw in the B footage, it took us forever to, like, do stocks. And I don't know if it's just that if we're just, like, beating the crap out of each other, and it just, like, the game's not, like, allowing that, but it took us, like, a good while to, like, actually get rid of one stock, like, especially with Prism. It took a long time.
To be fair, in that specific thing, I think that's more so because both you and Prism were kind of just running away.
But yeah, that probably because, you know, I usually do run away more and just kind of let you guys beat up each other. Then I try to sneak in for the win, but it may be cheap, but I don't know. That's just, I'm not very good at Smash, like, as you guys can tell, like, with all of these footages. But anyway, yeah, I always enjoy the stage. Well, obviously not the best stage. I'm gonna give it a solid.
I'm kind of with what Jordan said on the stage. I like it, but wish it was bigger. Like, I don't think it needs more platforms, but stretch it horizontally and vertically so there's more space. Other than that, it's weird how small it is. Considering it's called a tower, you'd expect it to be pretty big, but it feels like it only takes up, like, half the screen. Also, it's zoomed out very far, I feel. I don't know, I feel like this is a forgettable stage, other than the music. I'm gonna put it in C.
I'll plop it underneath Grateful Tail Tower. Alright. Next up, we have Dracula's Castle. First and foremost, this stage has one of, if not my personal favorite lighting for a stage in this whole game, because the darkness effect looks so freaking cool. Admittedly though, the darkness can be a hindrance depending on who you're playing as, and also if your eyes can adjust to it. And I'm a guy whose eyes can adjust to it, but for someone, like, not trying to call you out, Michael is not a fan of the lighting because I don't think he's, like, that good on that or something. I don't know. Aside from that, the stage is kind of eh. It's a bit on the smaller side, even though it feels like a decent size, and its layout is just strange. Like, yes, I know it's pulled from Dracula's boss room from Castlevania or whatever, but why the heck did they keep the stairs on this stage? And also the Castlevania boss characters that show up, I mean, they're just a bunch of monsters, and I think Dracula himself can also show up. I don't really care about that aspect much. Items being able to appear from smacking the candles that show up if you have items enabled is cool and a nice reference, I guess. I don't know. The stage feels a tiny bit redundant in retrospect because the setting was also used for boss arena for Dracula in this game. It's like, aside from Final Destination, which has historically been the quintessential boss stage for Smash, or at least for Master and Crazy Hand, Dracula's Castle is the only other location in Ultimate that appears as a playable stage and a boss arena. I think I'm gonna have to give this one a high C. It's really only being hard carried by the lighting effects alone.
Okay, I will say I do like the look of the stage. I do think it definitely looks really cool. I do like the appearances of like the different monsters from Castlevania in this one, and frankly, I'm pretty sure we could all agree it was definitely mind-blowing to see Castlevania get represented in Smash the way it did, since I'm pretty sure they didn't really represent it much for a while at this point. But though I think on the other hand though, the layout could be a bit better. Like, I feel like it is flat for the most part, but the edges on this, like the edges have been, how do you say it? The friggin'
Slightly more elevated.
Yeah, like the sides do kind of interfere a bit with launching players along. Like, I feel like the staircase does make it for an interesting stage idea, but doesn't really add all that much, I'd say. Not really sure what else they could have done to make it more interesting, so I'll give it bottom up B, since I do think it is at least decently interesting to play on. I think it's just fine, although I guess one more note I could say is that, Base Smash Ultimate did not have that many new stages, like at all.
Yeah, I'm not much of a fan of this stage, and which is strange for me to say because if you know me, I'm usually a huge fan of the dark. Like, I record my videos at night. I usually like the darkness in general, like at night, so I have to put on like sunscreen crap every time, and I just prefer nighttime overall, and I'm a night owl, as you can tell. But I don't know why, but I just do not like this stage. I think it's just, I don't know how to say it, because yeah, you can call me a hypocrite, but I just feel like it's too dark for my liking. Like, even if I said I like the darkness, I don't know, I find it like really annoying, and maybe I'm just like not that good at this stage or something, but I just find this stage one of the most annoying stages to fight on, especially since half the time I couldn't see my character because how dark it is. So yeah, I don't like this stage that much. I wouldn't put an F tier. I'm just gonna put it in a D tier because I just don't like it that much.
Yeah, I feel like there's another stage like Moray Towers where it could have been better, but they kind of did it wrong. I'm with Michael how it can be hard to see, especially if you're playing like a bright room. It can be hard to tell where like parts of the stage end and begin. Also, it's just too small. I feel like this one could have been stretched much wider. Right now, it feels like it's the same size as a small battlefield, even though it's supposed to be like a throne room or something. I just find that goofy. Yeah, I think the stairs are an okay addition because they're so small, but I don't know. The stage could have been better. I'm gonna put it in C, like near the bottom of C.
Alright, I'll plop it below Coliseum then. Alright, now that we've covered all the base game stages and small battlefield, we're going to now rank the DLC stages for Smash Ultimate, and our first one to cover is Mementos. Ranking the stage is already a bit iffy for me because of the large amount of music from the series that can get you screwed on YouTube if you use them. In fact, I'll be very shocked if I manage to get a song that works for this segment alone. Anyway, while on the subject of the music, let's address the elephant in the room. The stage's visuals will change depending on the game that the selected music comes from. So if the stage is red, then the song comes from Persona 5. If it's blue, the song comes from Persona 4. And if it's yellow, like what you're seeing right now, it comes from Persona 3. And that also carries over to Joker's victory screen if he wins on the stage. And obviously that stuff is a really cool attention to detail, but that's the biggest positive I have for this stage. The layout is kind of on the basic side, like a different take on Battlefield. And honestly, it's kind of nice. It's nice to have like a nice simple stage for Joker, even if the right platform is a bit thicker than I would have wanted to. Now, if the stage was just left at that, the layout that it is, I would rank it a bit higher. But there's something that drags the stage down for me quite a bit, and that's those stupid walls that can show up sometimes. Now, thankfully, these are just walls, physical walls that don't immediately damage you, and not like lava in disguise. Because if it was lava, then I would basically get Norfair PTSD all over again. Granted, these walls can still be abused if your opponent knocks you over to one and combos you. But at the same time, the walls are somewhat unexpected, and they can show up on any one of the 4 sides of the screen. I'm not sure if any of the walls can show up at the same time on any of the sides, but I'm pretty sure it's just one at a time. I don't know, I feel like I just can't get behind the Persona vibes at all. Not just from the stage, but in general. If I liked Persona, then it'd be a bit higher, but as is, I'm gonna give it a slightly higher than middle C.
Okay, I will say I definitely do like all the things with this stage. Like I do like how it does change depending on the music. Although I haven't really seen much of the other stages. Probably just because I don't know. Maybe I just only got on the Persona 5 music, but I don't know. I really like its concept, especially with even Joker's victory screens changing depending on what the music was, and especially I do love how if you finish off an opponent with his final smash, it becomes a victory screen. But okay, getting off topic. For the stage itself, I feel like it was a tad bit overrated, but at the same time, I do still really like it. Like it does have the kind of slow problem and the walls coming in. I guess I could see how that can be annoying, but I guess it does also kind of add a bit of extra challenge to it because sometimes you might just not expect it to just come out of nowhere and mess you up. I'm not really sure what else I could say. I mean, I do like the appearance. I do like how it looks. It definitely looks impressive or interesting. I'll give it a bottom of A, since I do still really like it a lot, but there are a few things that do carry it down a bit. But other than that, I do still like it a bit, or a lot more than the bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I really feel about this stage because I think it's like, I only played the stage maybe twice ever, and I kind of forgot it even exists. Like, I heard people like this stage and considered one of the greatest stages of all time, or, well, maybe not the greatest, but one of the greatest DLC stages of this game. But it's just like I said it with a couple Pokemon. It's like one of the most forgettable stages I've ever played in my entire life. Like, I don't remember even what happened during the B footage at all. Yeah, the walls are kind of annoying, which definitely drags it down even further. I don't know. The visuals are definitely good, like different colors from depending on which stage you're playing on, but that's about it. So, yeah, just gonna throw it in C tier since I don't like this stage that much, but I don't think it's like the worst thing ever.
I feel like this is one of the best looking stages in my opinion, but also the most forgettable. I think it's my personal favorite looking stage. Colors and black outlines just look so cool. I also really like how it changes based on the music to be like red, blue, or yellow. With no stage hazards on, it's very good, but with the stage hazards, you do have to deal with those stupid walls that get in the way. And I feel like those are definitely one of the most annoying stage hazards. Yeah, I mean, this one is just very cool looking but forgettable. I'm gonna put it in B.
Alright, bottom of B average it is.
Well, actually, I'm kind of surprised you say that, because I remember when the stage first came out, you were literally saying how much about you should only get Joker just for this stage.
I mean, yeah, I guess I just don't really like Joker that much, but the stage is cool.
Or were you just glazing the stage a bit too much?
Probably.
I mean, you can do that for a stage and not the character. That's totally allowed.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I still find Joker to be decently fun. And again, I already explained why I like his concepts.
Alright, well, regardless, we're just going to be moving on to the Dragon Quest stage, Yggdrasil's Altar. And the reason why I'm hesitating to talk about it is because I think this one might be the most basic and forgettable stage from Ultimate's DLC. Yes, it's another travel stage, but as far as I can tell, it's only a travel stage as far as the fact that it just moves around this location. Even when jotting down notes for these stages and looking back at the B-roll and looking at the thumbnails, the only thing I can remember is that giant tree in the background that's floating in the background. Since Dragon Quest has never really caught my interest, I just don't know crap about the lore of this location, so I'm just gonna put this in low C tier and move on. I really do not care about this stage.
Yeah, I probably won't have that much to say either, but I mean, I do think the background does look pretty. I do like how it looks, but other than that, I'd say it's just another battlefield. Yeah, I guess the platform that does come out the bottom is another thing, although just kind of impractical like the Bayonetta stage. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I could say about this stage, so I'll give it a B tier for at least being interesting.
This is another one of the most forgettable stages in the game. Like, I also forgot the stage even exists. Now, the tree in the middle in the background is actually pretty cool, but that's about it. It's literally just like another battlefield stage, and that's all I really have to say about it. I mean, it looks like it's floating, like in the middle of the sky, but because you can see like trees kind of towards the bottom. But I guess that it's happened to a lot of stages as well. But that's all I have to say. It's pretty forgettable. C tier.
Yeah, this one is weird. Also, I'm pretty sure it's Yggdrasil.
I do not care how it's pronounced, okay?
I like the concept of like a magic altar that flies around like different areas, but I don't know, the stage is just so boring. The platform's cool, the background's pretty. I don't know what anything is 'cause I don't care about Dragon Quest, but I don't know, I feel like this is just an okay stage, but it does have lag a lot sometimes. Or at least I remember when it first came out, it lagged quite a bit. I don't know. Let's see.
Alright, I'll just leave it as is here in the thing, which I should probably also zoom or move the camera back a little bit to see the things. Alright, there we go. Next up, we have Spiral Mountain, and oh boy, does this stage come packing with hype. Right off the bat, the fact that we even have this stage alongside Banjo and Kazooie and Smash is just incredible still. And oh my god, does Spiral Mountain look amazing. All of the details in the background, from Gruntilda's lair, to Banjo's house, to the extra honeycombs that are just hanging around, to Banjo's friends visible around the place. It all comes together to bring the place to life just as it did on the N64. And the idea of the stage literally rotating in a circle on occasion while keeping the two-dimensional plane is really only found here, and not only does that work well for this location, it also just sometimes looks funny when it does happen. Now, when the stage does stop spinning, there will be some platforms and the bridge to Grunty's lair that show up to assist in the fight, which is nice. It keeps the stage from just being small, which is the thing that's holding the stage back, actually. The actual Spiral Mountain is a bit smaller than I would have liked, or at least the top of it is. The downward path makes up a tiny bit of lost ground for that, except not by much. Still, I'm just glad that we even get to fight in this place at all, despite me not being a Banjo fan whatsoever. So, despite not having a whole lot to say about the stage, I still like it a lot, so I'm honestly gonna give it bottom of S tier.
I will say, I definitely really like the concept of this one. Like, I do like it when stages do unique gimmicks that haven't been done anywhere else. And this one do it by just literally turning, like, rotating, not as in just rotating the platform, but, like, literally, like, rotate it horizontally rather than diagonally, if that even makes sense. I feel like that's definitely a really unique concept that I do like how this game did. Although, just like Alex, I have never played Banjo-Kazooie, so I wouldn't know much about it, but I don't know, I do think it does look pretty cool. I mean, sure, one downside is that I can lag a lot if you're on multiplayer, but that might just be a me problem, but not sure what else I could say. I mean, I could definitely give props for Banjo actually making it into Smash along with some other ones, but although I probably give Steve the most props, since I'm pretty sure Steve and Sans were probably the ones that I don't think anybody saw coming. I'm sure we joked about, but okay, besides the point.
Banjo was like that too.
In terms of ranking, I don't know how to rank it actually, because I like it, but I don't know if I like it that much. You know what, I'll give it a top of B tier, since I do think it is interesting enough, but wouldn't put it too high for me personally.
Alright, finally, got a good stage to talk about. First time in quite a while for me, at least. Yeah, I really like the stage a lot. Even though I'm not a Banjo-Kazooie or whatever that game was called fan, I actually think the stage is actually pretty well done. I like the backgrounds, the visuals. I like the platforms and stuff, especially when it rotates. Like, you can, like, turn from the left side and then to the right side. It's just a lot of fun to fight on. It's actually one of my favorite stages in the Ultimate Stages era. So yeah, I'm going to give it as an S tier. Best one so far.
I don't know, this is a cool stage, but I feel like they could have done something better, if I'm gonna be honest. And while I do agree with what Alex said, how it looks really good, and the idea of it actually spinning is cool, I feel like it would be a cooler idea to actually start in Grunty's lair, which that's the hub world, right? Where it connects to everything.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cooler to start there and then like fly around to all the different locations in the game, because I know there's a bunch of cool, unique ones.
I think that would actually been a lot more complicated if they just like had everything in Banjo-Kazooie's world modeled and stuff.
Well, not everything, obviously, but
I mean, on the level of like other stages that do it, kind of like I know the other Fire Emblem stage I will get to in a bit. So as long as like oh wait, no, like friggin' Isle Delfino, that's an example.
Oh,
of one that
yeah.
uses it.
Like that, kind of.
Yeah.
But the spinning can also mess you up. I think even in the B-roll footage, I fell off when it spun and I didn't realize. It's also just, I feel like it's a small stage, despite how big it looks. And I'm gonna put it in middle of A, because while it looks cool, I feel like it's just kind of notified on it.
You know what? I'll have it be below Isle Delfino, or not Delfino. I'll have it be below Delfino Plaza in that regard then. Alright. And now that we have covered half of our remaining stages to rank, we're almost there. We're going to now move on to King of Fighters Stadium. And at first glance, the layout looks exactly like Coliseum from the last game, just without the platforms that can show up. And while that may be true, it's still not quite the same, because this stage has some invisible walls that close the boundaries of the stage from the sides, which thankfully means no accidentally walking off or abusing the blast zones. And what's meant to happen here is that opponents that get knocked into the walls at a high enough damage and or knockback distance will be promptly KO'd. Now, this does not include the top of the stage, so KOs that happen up there, the explosions, star KOs, and screen KOs, still play like normal. But that's still just a really cool idea for a stage. It almost makes it feel like a childhood game inside of a video game, at least to me. That probably sounds like weird to say, but that's just how I feel about it. Aside from that, there isn't anything else that needs to be said. I like that Terry's fellow fighters from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters can show up to cheer everyone on. And while I don't know the lore behind the stadium being a football field, it's still the only one we have in this game, so that's cool. And I like how they put down the smash ball on the football field and put the King of Fighters initials along the bigger streak of the smash ball. Honestly, there aren't any criticisms I have for this stage. It's a nice, simple, and good place to fight. And you know what? I'm gonna give this one bottom of S tier, since you guys have pretty much changed my thoughts on stages that are perfect for fighting. And I've come to accept that some of them are just that good. Though in the case of this one, since it doesn't have the cheesability of blast zone abuse, it gets the edge for me. So yeah, bottom of S tier.
Okay, I know this might sound a bit insane, but I honestly really like this stage. Like, again, another one with an interesting gimmick, but honestly one that I find to be really unique that almost changes up Smash Bros. A bit more, but in an actual positive way that I do like. I like the idea of just your percentages, like if they get too high and you smash them hard enough, they just blast through this stage has like invisible barriers, but like once you reach a higher enough percentage and you do a smash attack on someone, it just smashes right through that wall, and then that's how you KO them. I really like that concept, especially since like the feeling of just freaking just like smash attacking someone so hard to where they just freaking plow right through the stage, like something about like the way they even zoom in on it before they get just KO'd, you feel freaking powerful on the stage. I know that's kind of just a visual thing, but hey, what can I say? I'm just someone who likes feeling powerful. I don't know what else I'm thinking about, because I mean, I just think the stage looks nice. I feel like it's evenly laid out. I feel like there's a lot of states to fight, and again, it's a different concept on a stage that just makes the experience fun in a different way. So honestly, I definitely give the stage S tier. I really like it a lot.
I also like this stage. I think it's a very fun stage to fight on. I like the football field, even though we don't play football because it's Smash. Right? You don't expect to ever play football on that. But, you know, as a football fan, I like the visuals of it in the background. But yeah, other than that, I still really think it was it's a pretty solid stage overall. I always thought it was fun to fight on. And the blast zones are actually not that bad, honestly, or barely at all, or at least I barely really noticed them, honestly. But isn't it one of those stages where you can bounce off the walls? I think it is, but I don't remember the top of my brain because, you know, my brain is not the greatest at remembering things.
Technically, as a matter of fact, yes, it is, because the walls are invisible.
Okay, I knew there was one stage where I was like that. I couldn't remember which stage it was, but it was this one. Anyway, I always like this stage. It's actually one of my favorite stages. I don't know of all time, but definitely probably one of my top 5. So I'll put it in S tier.
Yeah, I also like this stage. This is the stage I called Shadow Moses Island, but better. I really like the concept of it being like a solid box where you can't kill anyone unless you hit them hard enough at a high enough percent, and then it like zooms in and breaks the wall. I feel like that's always like, it just feels so good to do that. It's also funny how it's just like just a normal football field. I've always thought that was kind of funny. But I don't know, the stage is just always fun to fight on, and unlike Shadow Moses Island, it's actually big enough to fight on. I don't know, this is also one of my favorites, even if it does look kind of boring. I'm gonna put it in S, honestly, but near the bottom.
Ooh, okay. Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting you to have it in the upper half, but you know what?
Or just because I like the stages in the upper half of the S we have right now more.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that, honestly, but I think as is...
Between Wuku Island and WarioWare, I think is...
Yeah.
So I'd put it.
Alright. Now we move on to Gareg Mach Monastery. First things first, we are not going to be judging the stage because of its attachment to Byleth and their controversy in the Fighter Pass. I don't want to hear any of that bull crap in the comments or anything, or from any of you people that like even remotely give thoughts in the comments or whatever, alright? And honestly, adding a little bit of fuel to that fire, this to me is the only Fire Emblem stage after all this time that's actually interesting and not boring or bad to fight on. Now that's not to say that Castle Siege was bad, but I personally think that this stage has a few more redeeming qualities since it's set in a location from an actual game, which in this case is Fire Emblem Three Houses. So this stage is another traveling stage. We start outside in the marketplace, where the two shops on the sides of the area can be broken for whatever reason. Then we go inside to the reception hall, then back outside to a bridge, then back inside again into the cathedral, and then back outside to the marketplace, rinse and repeat. Now all these areas do have the walk-off problem again, so that does drag it down a bit for me. But I don't think it's as bad as some others. I like that there are characters from Three Houses that appear in the background, which includes the main Three House representatives, Dimitri, Elgard, and Claude. And speaking of the background, I especially like the one we see when the stage travels between inside and outside. Like that field of mountains looks really, really good, especially on higher resolution. Not trying to switch to flex or anything, but... Honestly, this stage is just a bit on the forgettable side, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not like a boring kind of forgettable. So I'm gonna give it a low B.
I'm not really sure how to feel about this stage, because I do feel like, I feel like it's definitely more interesting than the rest of the Fire Emblem stages. I guess that's really all I can say about it. It's definitely more interesting than the other Fire Emblem stages. It's just another stage that switches to different locations. I'll give it a B tier since I definitely don't think it's bad, but I don't really have too much to say on it.
Alright, despite the controversy of how people feel there are too many of Spyro Ender stages or other than stuff, which is honestly really getting obnoxious at this point, I do think the stage is honestly a bit overrated. Like, yeah, I don't think it's good by any means, but it really isn't that bad. There are a few things I think that I like, but it's like really not that great either. There are a couple like broken things that happen in it, like Alex said, which is more like funny than like, you know, annoyingly bad. So, yeah, that's really have to say about this stage. I put it in B tier.
Yeah, this stage is so forgettable. I honestly never paid attention to the name. As forgettable as it is the best Fire Emblem stage. That's not saying much, though. This one's at least fightable. My favorite part is probably the beginning, with the storekeepers, the stalls at the beginning. You can just destroy for no reason. I always thought that was funny. It shifts different locations, but I feel like they're all basically the same, just flat ground. If there's platforms, I don't remember them at all. It's okay, just extremely forgettable. I'm gonna put it C.
Alright, I'll just drag it down one slot down then. Alright, and that was the last of the Volume 1 stages for the Fighter Pass, so now we're moving on to Volume 2. And we begin with Spring Stadium. Honestly, I'm not sure what to make of this stage because I haven't played ARMS. I don't even know if that's a game that's talked about nowadays, but I'm at least glad that like there's further representation of ARMS in Smash beyond just Springman being an assist trophy. But I have to wonder why they went with Springman's home turf and not Min Min's stage. But because Springman does appear as an assist trophy, it's not a big deal, I guess. Anyway, for the actual stage, naturally with a name like Spring Stadium, comes some platforms that act as springs, and I like how they're only active sometimes and not all the time. And the spring functionality actually works pretty well. I don't think it's like too crazy. Like I think there are maybe 1 or 2 stages that have a spring thing going on, like Stinky Windy Hill Zone. But this one, again, works pretty well. It is weird that the arches at the top are solid where they meet in the middle and can be bounced off of. Because I don't think I've ever noticed that in the time that I've played this stage. I think I only first noticed it when we did it for the B-roll. There isn't much else to say for this stage, so I'm just going to give it a high C.
Yeah, I think another stage I don't really have too much to say on. Like, I do like the gimmick of the little bounce pads that every now and then you'll be able to like bounce up on them, but honestly, they're not really used for too much, nor are they really beneficial for the fight. I forgot. Are you able to climb on top of the stage, like the little rim thing that connects to the center? Are you able to climb on top of that, or is that
No,
just...
I think that's way too high.
Yeah, no, not really much in that sense. It feels like it's just a basic stage. I'll give it bottom of B, since I definitely don't think it's that bad, but not that good either.
I remember when this stage was first announced, a lot of people were super excited because ARMS was a really huge deal back when Smash was like really when it came out and stuff. And I never played ARMS, but I just remember like so many people were so hyped for it. And then they found that the Springman was only a assist trophy, and people heavily complained that he should be in Smash because he deserves so much better. And then I was like, guys, just be thankful that you have an ARMS character in Smash. But at the same time, the one that they chose was Springman's stage instead of her own stage, which I don't understand. But again, like, at least you have an ARMS stage. Like, can you just be grateful for it at least? But yeah, anyway, besides that, I don't even think ARMS is even popular anymore. Like, I barely hear anyone talk about it nowadays. As for the stage itself, I honestly do not like the stage. This is one of my least favorite stages, like in DLC stuff. Like, first of all, maybe it's just me, but I find the stage to be way too big. Like, I feel like this is more of a, like, I don't know if I should say 8 players, more like 6 players and 4 players. Maybe, again, that's probably just me. And like Jordan said, the springs are in there, but I feel like they're like one of the useless things about this stage. Like, they barely really help at all, especially if you have like a character that has a poor recovery. It just, I don't know, it just does not really work that well. So yeah, I'm not much of a fan of the stage, so I'm just gonna give it a D tier.
Yeah, it's weird that they didn't put Min stage in this game, even though I haven't played ARMS, so I have no clue what that stage is. I don't know, it's just kind of boring. It's cool that the springs have platforms, or there's platforms that are springs that bounce you up really high. It's really annoying that like the beams at the top of the arena count as walls when you're smash attacking someone so they can bounce off of them. I've always found that annoying. I don't know, this stage is just kind of forgettable. It's okay, but I don't know. I'm gonna put it as usual in C with all the other just okay stages.
Alright, we'll drag it down to just above the Animal Crossing stages then. Alright. Next up, we have Minecraft World. And just like with Banjo-Kazooie, it's still absolutely insane that we get to talk about the stage at all, with Steven the stage existing in this game. So, Minecraft World is basically the exact same idea as the Mario Maker stage, and just like that stage, it works perfectly here. However, I do think that the execution isn't quite as perfect as the Mario Maker stage. Now, yes, the stage is almost never the same each time you play it, but the general layout doesn't change much at all between reruns, unlike in Mario Maker, because the main platform is still basically a flat shape that extends down to the bottom of the blast zone every time. Now, what actually changes every rerun is the visual and background details, because sometimes you can get a savanna biome, or a plains biome, or a taiga biome, and sometimes what you can break on the stage, yes, they did keep that aspect intact for the stage from Minecraft, isn't the same every time either. Like, there's different styles of trees, or there's like a house that's just you can break and stuff. But because Minecraft World is 3D modeled compared to Mario Maker's textures and sprites, that does make it harder to be more creative for a stage layout, even though they probably could have made it work. So that's not to say that this stage is far worse than Mario Maker, of course, so I'm going to give it the highest A tier. Not quite S tier, but almost there. It just needs a little bit more variety.
Okay, now I know this might sound a bit insane, but for this stage, it's basically just Mario Maker, but better. Okay, I'll admit. Obviously, I'm gonna like this stage a lot since it's referencing Minecraft, which it's definitely. I'm pretty sure I did label it as being my #1 favorite childhood game. Since I remember I used to play that for hours. I even got the Xbox 360 back in the day just to play Minecraft because I watched Minecraft YouTubers. Okay, but enough talk about my past. About the stage itself, it has the same concept with Mario Maker, as in like it changes every time you actually play it. But like, I think the thing I also like about it is that there's like some parts of the stages that are actually built out of blocks that you can kind of like break as part of the stage. Like, yes, I know they can kind of mess you up at times, but like, at least with this one you can actually break them, and I'm pretty sure they don't regenerate. At least I don't think. And if they do, they don't generate fast. So, like, again, I do feel like the variety is actually big enough as it is. Like, since I think there's like the grass place, there was savannah, there was the cave-related one. Like, I know it's not inside a cave, but it was more like a lot more stone and such. I don't remember what the rest of the ones were. I don't think what else I could say. I mean, oh yeah, there was also the village. I did remember that. Sorry, I'm blanking out for a bit, but I don't know. I feel like I just like this stage more than Mario Maker, since like again, it's the same idea, just different, but Minecraft themed, and I love Minecraft. Again, I know I'm sounding a bit biased here, but I don't know. I just like this stage more. So honestly, I'm gonna just give it S tier. What else am I supposed to say? We got Minecraft in Smash Bros.
Yeah, I actually like this stage. Even though I'm not like the biggest fan of Minecraft compared to other people, especially a certain thing, but yeah, I actually really like the stage. I think it's really well done. But like Alex said, I don't think the execution was handled very well. While it is a fun stage to fight on, it's just kind of, well, I don't know how to really explain it. Kind of basic, I guess. But again, I can't really explain it too well because I don't play Minecraft as much, but I always still like finding the stages fun. Even though I don't like playing as Steve, like, as a character, like, at all. I just think he's one of the worst characters to play. Well, okay, maybe that's just me, but I never like playing as Steve in Smash Bros. At all. Anyway, I still think the stage is, like, pretty well done. Like Alex said, it's kind of like Mario Maker 2, but kind of like a worse version of it in like some ways, but also kind of a better version in some ways. But yeah, I'm going to give this one an A tier. Also, before Prism moves on, I would like to say I also remember when Steve's thing was revealed like a long time ago. People were super excited while I was kind of pissed off about it because at the time I didn't really care about Minecraft, so I was like really annoyed with it. When people were super hyped up for it, I was like, really, guys? Why Steve of all characters? Like, I know Minecraft is popular, but it's just like, I don't know. At the time, it just did not make sense to me. But nowadays, I can see why people wanted Steve at Smash. And yeah, so that's just my little story on that.
Yeah, this is just the worst Mario Maker stage, if I'll be honest. It's cool that it changes biomes and, like, what's on the stage every time, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird that it's just a basic battlefield. Considering Minecraft's the game where you can pretty much make anything, why just a normal platform? Why not just reskin Mario Maker? That would have been so much better. Like, it's not a bad stage, it's just a lot of missed potential in my opinion. I'm gonna put it in B.
Ooh. Shoot. What would the average be then? I think higher A is probably the average then, actually. Alright. Next up, we have Northern Cave, the stage that accompanied Sephiroth joining the fray, which that by itself is already quite insane as well. The fact that we got another Final Fantasy rep in this game. And of course it had to be Sephiroth, like, it was kind of a given. Sephiroth, probably one of the most popular Final Fantasy characters. Anyway. So this is a stage that thankfully isn't just a direct Battlefield clone, Midgar. Granted, the stage doesn't have many hazards, if at all, unlike Midgar, but I still think it's a slightly better place to fight because of it. Besides, much of what carries the stage is all the crap that goes on in the background, which is derived from the events of the end of Final Fantasy VII. And I don't have much else to say on this stage, it just looks cool, and that's all it needs. I think I gave Midgar a low C last time, so I'm going to rank Northern Cave a higher C tier, adjacent to Battlefield and its related clones. Or related stages, excuse me, not clones.
I honestly would say this is kind of just like Final Destination, but more interesting in my opinion, since, I don't know, I do like how the stage is like made up differently. I do like how the background looks. I feel like the background looks way more insane. Like, I mean, I didn't play Final Fantasy, so I don't have as much to say about it, but I don't know, I just feel like this one's a bit more interesting in my books, so I'll give it an A tier.
I don't know how to really say about this stage because I kind of forgot about it, honestly. Even when we, before we play in the feed footage and stuff, I just kind of forgot it even exists. I mean, it is pretty cool, admittedly, but I don't know. I just don't really find that stage memorable at all. Like, it's just really boring to me. I don't have much to say. I'm just going to throw it in C tier.
I think this might be one of my favorite stages. I think it would be forgettable, but I really like it. I like how when it was introduced, it added more than 2 songs. Because some of the songs they chose to include with this one are actually really good. The background's cool. I like how it basically shifts through the whole game's finale. and like the meteor crashes and everything. That's cool. I like how when it shifts as you go down into the crater, there's different platforms, but they're not annoying like how most shifting stages are. I don't remember the layouts, but I know they're all pretty good. Yeah, I think that's just about it. I just really like this stage and it looks super cool. I would say S, but I don't think it's good enough for S. I'm gonna put it top of A.
I'll pop it next to Final Destination. Alright, next up we have the stage that accompanied Pyra and Mithra. This is Cloud Sea of All Rest. And much like the Dragon Quest stage earlier, this stage is just basic and forgettable to me. Now, I don't think it's as boring and forgettable as that one, but it's pretty close. Though I'm only giving this one a slide because at least I have some leniency towards Xenoblade than Dragon Quest, but that's really not saying much. My main problem is that the stage just feels too small sometimes, and that's especially when the guy who we're fighting on's head turns to the sides. I don't know, I just don't really get Xenoblade vibes from the stage compared to Gaur Plain. Now, granted, I've seen much less of Xenoblade 2 than the first game, but at least Gaur Plain has some recognizability since it's a prominent location, even being on the box art of Xenoblade 1. But here, I just don't feel it. I think I'm just gonna give this one a lower C and move on.
Now, sadly, I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I won't have as much to say about the stage compared to Galar Plains from Xenoblade 1. But I mean, I have at least seen some cutscenes from 2, although not very many of the surroundings itself. So I don't know. I'll just get to the point. I would say it's cool, but like at the same time, I feel like it kind of falls into the same problem that Galar Plain does. Is that I just felt like there was more interesting locations they could have picked from this game than just what they did pick. Like, don't get me wrong, this stage is definitely more interesting than Galar Plains in my opinion, but I don't know, I feel like maybe they could have done something a bit more. I mean, I do like the idea of the stage itself being alive and like even the head turns, but yeah, I guess I could see how they can mess you up since like he can't create a slope, and also I think during the footage one of us did fall off when he turned his head to look at the background, but yeah, I'm not sure what else I could say. Like, I know I was gonna say something that was... Like, I think in response to Alex saying that, like, you said it doesn't really feel like Xenoblade, which, like, I guess I couldn't blame, because I think from what I have seen and from what people have said, is that Xenoblade 2 kind of went for a more, like, anime kind of vibe for it, which, seeing from cutscenes, I could kind of get. I could kind of see what people mean, so I guess I can't blame you for that. But again, I haven't played Xenoblade 2 yet, so, again, I don't have as much as to say, but, yeah, I feel like they probably could have picked a more interesting location, at least I think. I don't know, maybe I'll have more to say once I actually do play the stage, but as of right now, I mean, I don't think the stage is terrible by any means, just definitely not the greatest. I think a B tier is fair enough, because again, I don't think it's a bad stage to fight on, but not the best either, although again, more interesting than Galar Plains in my opinion.
I don't have much to say about the stage either. It's just, like, extremely forgettable. Again, once again, like the previous couple stages, I kind of forgot the stage even exists. Even when we played it, like for the beat footage and stuff. Really don't have much to say. I'm just gonna put it in C tier.
Yeah, this one's kind of forgettable. Even though it does look really cool. I like the idea of like a cloud ocean, and then you're on like some kind of boat, but it's like a big living creature. It just feels too small though. Like I wish the thing was like longer, so you had more space to fight. I don't know why all the like, Smash Ultimate stages are so small. There's only like 2 or 3 that are a fightable size. I think that's the main thing holding it back. Also, it's just weirdly shaped, so I feel like it's just hard to do some moves. Also, the thing can turn its neck, which can really screw you up. I don't know. I feel like it's a cool stage, but needs some tweaks. I'm gonna put it in B.
I'll put it beneath Spring Stadium, I think, then. Alright, for our penultimate stage, and yes, this pun was used intentionally, this is the stage that came with Kazuya. This is Mishima Dojo. The stage is literally just a giant box that could be broken in chunks. That kind of sounds like bars now that I say that out loud. Okay, I'm not saying that whole thing makes this stage bad, it's just a bit funny to me. Though I feel like that sort of thing like kind of makes it, well, it kind of gives off the similar vibes to King of Fighters Stadium because of the whole thing, but I think I just like the vibe of that stage more than this one. Because this one just feels a little bit like dark and gritty. It's like King of Fighters Stadium definitely like had more like vibrancy, I guess, or like brightness. It's definitely like a lot more like, how do I describe it? Like lighthearted, I guess. Even though both stages are fighting games stages. The only thing I find annoying about the stage is that the camera angling doesn't exactly work the same as in every other stage. What I mean is that the angle doesn't really become adjacently lined up when someone's getting to a ledge, because it more so stays in the center angle while moving around. The reason I came to that conclusion is because I think Prism was like grabbing onto the ledge or like trying to get out to the ledge, but he just could not see because the camera angle like did not change. It just like the camera moved, but the camera angle was staying in the center, I think. So nothing else I had to say. It's a decent place to fight on, even though I weren't personally choosing much. I'm gonna give it a B tier.
Honestly, another stage that I do honestly really like. Okay, because like for one, the design is definitely a really cool design. I do like how dark and like sinister it looks. Okay, it's kind of like the King of Fighters stage, although, I mean, gameplay-wise, not as great, but feeling-wise, I definitely do like it. Just, like, the idea of just, like, launching your opponents, to where they literally break through the stage and just simply destroy the whole thing. Just, like, again, another feeling of just, you feel super freaking strong. Like, there's definitely just something about just chucking your opponents rather than just destroying, like, buildings. Like, rip to those workers who put their blood, sweat, and tears into building those places, but... Smiles for me for destroying them. Okay, but in all seriousness, I feel like I was definitely one of the few of us to actually have played Tekken before, although for like a very long time ago. I don't really remember much, but I don't know. I just really like the aesthetics. Although even if I do think, I mean, even stage-wise, I feel like this one actually is a really good stage to fight on. Like, it's evenly flat. I feel like the walls aren't that strong, so they're not gonna get in the way as easily. And again, it's just satisfying to throw people around in them. So, honestly, I'm going to give it an A tier. I do like it a lot. I mean, again, not as much as the King of Fighters stage, but I'll definitely give it that.
Yeah, I kind of like the stage. I think it's a pretty interesting to fight on, even if the camera can be a little bit annoying to deal with. But I don't know, I can kind of work around it. But I don't know. I just really like the visuals here. I think it's pretty cool, especially the background on top and fighting kind of it looks like clouds above. But I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed this one actually. So B tier.
This is another very fun stage. It starts out by looking super boring, just being a basic box, but then you start smashing the walls and throwing people through them, and then it gets fun. I always like it when you can like destroy stage in like a fun way, like this one. It's just always so fun and satisfying to do. I wish there were more stages and things like this, where you could like knock down platforms or something. Like that would be cool. It also is just a cool looking stage. I like how the dude in the center, sometimes he just looks so upset that you're destroying his dojo, and other times he's just mad. I don't know. I think he's just funny. It would be cool though if like he completely destroyed the dojo, then he jumps in as like a boss that you have to defeat. That would actually be a pretty cool idea.
I agree with that.
I could actually see that, yeah.
That would make the stage kind of annoying and worse, but yeah, I don't know. The stage is always just fun, although it can be kind of annoying, especially when like you break the top half of the wall and then get knocked out. It can be annoying to get back in then. I feel like the camera's fine for this one. The blast zones are big enough that you don't have to worry about not knowing what to do. I don't know, it's just a really good stage. I'm gonna put it near the bottom of S.
I'll rank it up a bit in A tier then. Alright. At long last, we have arrived at the final stage to rank for this whole tier list. This is Hollow Bastion. And once again, much like Banjo and Steve, and by extension also Sans technically, it is freaking wild that we have Sora in Smash. Because, like, technically he's co-owned by Disney. Like, I know we've been, like, clamoring for that since Smash 4's DLC or whatever. Like, but it's still just incredible that they were finally able to get Sora into Smash Bros. Like, I don't know, like, that to this day is probably, like, one of the most incredible things of all. So, anyway, aside from, like, that whole hype behind Sora, honestly, the stage's appeal to me really only goes to the background stuff, because the actual stage is another one that's kind of just basic. So, I'll just, like, glaze over the layout, and I'll just talk about the other stuff. So, the actual Hollow Bastion is entirely modeled, and damn does it look incredible from all angles, no matter how close or zoomed out it is. Even better than that is the dive into the heart area that we go into when either one of the last two people's stocks is down to 1 remaining, or the timer gets down to 1 minute. And for those that don't know, dive into the heart is the void place where circle memory thing, or as they're officially called, Stations of Awakening, for Sora or some other Kingdom Hearts characters forms in the background. Now, unfortunately, but also unsurprisingly, we didn't get to see the Stations of Awakening of some Disney folks, since that was more so Square Enix sided with Sora's stuff in the Fighter Pass. Plus, getting anything other than the Mickey head keychain on Sora's Keyblade was probably not worth the effort. But even despite that, like I said, it's still insane that we got Sora in Smash to begin with. And what we got for Hollow Bastion is pretty damn impressive and a great way to send off the Fighter Pass and Smash Ultimate as a whole, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a solid high B tier.
Yeah, I could definitely say it was a perfect way to end off Smash Bros. As a whole by finally having Nintendo crossover with Disney in such a way. Although I never played Kingdom Hearts, I definitely admire the fact that they actually convinced Disney to actually lend Sora into Smash Bros. Yeah, I could say for the stage itself, it is kind of just like the Dragon's Quest stage, but definitely way more interesting. Like, the background's definitely, it just looks incredible, I could definitely say, especially with, like, the transformations of, like, the glass, of, like, the, would it be called, like, stained glass, or, I don't know, like, the backgrounds when it shows, like, the characters, I feel like that's...
Oh,
that.
Aesthetic,
although...
Yeah, the Stations of Awakening, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But I could acknowledge the fact that, yeah, they did have to change some parts of it that did include Disney characters, which, I mean, yeah, we're not surprised by that, especially since also when Kirby inhales Sora, the Keyblade is like a light instead of being like... Funny how they tried it in the trailer, they tried to explain that, like, Kirby doesn't have any connection with the Keyblade, so that's why it's a light one, but, like, okay, come on, guys. We already know why it's like that. You don't, like, come on, Kirby doesn't have any connection with the Monado or Palutena's staff or multiple other things that make less sense. So, come on now. But, anyways. But the stage itself, yeah, it is pretty basic. Well, I don't know. I'd say it's just good to fight on, although it is another stage where it can lag a bit if you're on multiplayer, but again, that just might be a me problem. Other than that, honestly, I'm gonna give a bottom of A, since I do like the aesthetics that much. I do think they look really pretty. And plus, again, a perfect send-off to the series as a whole.
Yeah, as for the last stage in Super Smash Bros., like the series as a whole, or unless they make another one, I think this is a pretty solid way to end up the stage. Now, I will admit that it is like a basic stage, but the visuals are like really well done, and it's just so crazy how Nintendo was able to convince Disney to have the license to show Sora into Smash. Now that is something I remember people made such a big deal out of, and something that nobody expected. Probably the biggest surprise since Steve in Minecraft. I was surprised by it too. But like I said, the stage is like basic to fight on. I still think visually it's like one of the best we had. Well, actually, I don't know the best, but probably one of the best like visual like DLC stages out there. So I'm gonna give it a low A tier. What a great way to end off the series.
Yeah, the stage itself is basic. It is funny that they managed to... We have Disney representation in Smash. But the stage itself is just a basic battlefield, but the background is really cool. I do like how detailed the building is, instead of just putting a low poly one. It's like an actual fully high model building, which is cool. I don't know, it's basic, but a pretty cool stage. I also like the void area, arena. That's pretty cool. I'm honestly gonna put it in A. It's basic, but very cool.
Alright, well, you know what? Keeping it at the bottom of A will probably just remain the average. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially done with this tier list.
Woohoo! I can't believe it. We finally did it, folks.
And what a journey.
Way too long.
I know,
What a
right?
journey.
There is one more thing I want to do real quick. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a this. This is the wrong thing. Hang on. I need to do this. Oh, you can't even see the text. Hang on. Never mind. Do this.
How did I do it?
Hang on. You'll see the vision. You'll see the vision. There. Now it's perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anyway, as for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate ranking, for me, it was better than Wii U, but it still wasn't really that great either. So I have about 8 total good, 6 mediocre, and only 2 bad, which is not bad, but could have been a little bit better.
Honestly, I feel like when it came to ultimate stages, like there were most of them were just pretty average. But I will say there were definitely some really good ones. But I don't know. I feel like Wii U probably had some more of the better stages. I don't know. Again, it surprises me how Ultimate had very little new stages.
Anyway, I was gonna say one more thing before we continue. So I also did my old version of the tier list, like all together, and my favorite Smash Bros. Stage of all time, and the other one is Luigi's Mansion from Smash Bros. Brawl. And my least favorite, which I think we can all agree on, all four of us, is 75 AM, also from Brawl.
Honestly, Michael, you could just go and put that as Super F right now.
or better yet, title it FU. Then
yeah, for your thing, you could absolutely do that. I'm not doing that for the sake of, like, I could just do the initials, but I think Super F is funnier.
I knew there was one thing I was gonna say about the Sea of Cloud stage from Xenoblade 2 that I completely forgot to say. Is that I noticed that I don't know if other stages do this, but I noticed this was one of the few stages, if not probably the only stage, that I noticed that they actually changed up like a spirit fight to include this stage in, being Rex's spirit fight. Since originally, the original one includes Galar Plains, but when you get the DLC, it switches to the Sea of Clouds.
I feel like I might have heard that or seen that before, but I don't remember. I don't think I've seen it myself in my game, but
I noticed it when I replayed World of Light.
Maybe I don't remember if I have noticed that when I last played World of Light. It's been a while since that, but anyway, that's that for this tier list and this miniseries as a whole. And honestly, I'd say I'm overall satisfied with this. Like, there are definitely some placements that I don't agree with, but there's definitely a lot that I do agree with.
I'm at least glad we got a good variety of S-tier stages.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember I was kind of worried that WarioWare was going to be the only one that bees in this.
Yeah. Nah, I was honestly counting on Mario Maker being the other S tier. Actually, I don't think I had any other S tiers from 3DS by itself. At least I don't remember. But yeah, that's a wrap for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching us rank these stupid stages. And honestly, I think I had a blast.
I did too. I can't wait to do more tier lists in the future, because I miss doing them.
Took a while, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I might have liked this tier list a bit more than some of the other ones, because it was because Smash Bros. Is a franchise more about representing other franchises. I at least got to talk about the other franchises that I'm interested in than just Mario.
Yeah, that goes for all of us, dude. That goes for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping we get more topics to rank at some point.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the next tier list we're going to be doing after this, hopefully, is Mario Kart World's ranking, if you guys get that for Crimbus. But that's all we have to really say. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys then. Bye-bye!
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. Let's
Yeah.
some more things.